darkness, you're already dead. Huh. You deserved worse.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mengs, and today I welcome you guys to yet another Fire Emblem character spotlights. Today we're traveling to the sun-scorched lands of the Plaguean Desert to take a look at the dark, mysterious sorcerer Tharja.
Do you like darkness?
And yes, before we get into a pronunciation war in the comment section, I know there's a lot of disagreement in the fandom over how her name is pronounced. Some swear by Tharja, others say Tharja, some say Tharja. I say Tharja. Deal with it.
Satisfied?
Tharja is a young mage hailing from Plagia with an affinity for hexes and curses. Her origins are mostly shrouded in mystery as we rarely see her talk about her pasts, but we do learn through her support conversations that she grew up in a family of powerful Plagian mages, and we can only speculate that she studied the dark arts under the tutelage of her family members. When the Mad King Gangrel declared war on Elise, Tharja was drafted into the Plagian army as a battle mage, and was part of the army poised to prevent Chrom from reaching Emmerin's execution. Tharja, however, saw no point in dying for a cause she had no interest in, so when Chrom's army was approaching, and she saw that the battle was swinging in their favor, she immediately offered to join them to save her own skin. Immediately after joining Chrom's army, Tharja took an immediate interest in the tactician Robin and developed a rather unhealthy obsession. Due to her newfound interest, she would stay with Chrom's army even after they departed Plagia, and would go on to help them in their fight against Grima. After the war, Tharja either stays with her husband, if she marries, or if single, she continues to stalk Robin, apparently working on hexes and curses to make the tactician fall in love with her. Whoopee.
Oh, joy.
Tharja is the game's token fanservice character. She has long black hair and brown eyes. Her Plagian Dark Mage attire leaves very little to the imagination, showing off a lot of skin. Though to be fair, Tharja does hail from a country with an extremely hot climate, so at least her outfit makes sense, unlike some other fanservice-oriented characters in the series. In the Japanese version of Awakening, Tharja's description literally states that she has the best body in the army, though in the localized version this was changed to darkest thoughts in the army. Get used to this tendency of the localization team toning down Tharja's sexuality, because it's gonna be a recurring trend. Tharja has a slim, fit, elegant build, but still manages to be sultry and curvaceous in the right areas. She has long legs, thick thighs, a very small waist, and a pretty large bust for her frame. In fact, in the Harvest Scramble DLC, Noe reveals to her that she has personally compared Tharja's boingy bits, hint that means boobs, up against all the other females in Chrom's army, and has come to the conclusion that Tharja has the biggest ones, though the localization team thought this conversation was too sexual, so they changed it to the silkiest hair in the European version, though they strangely kept it in the North American one. We also cannot talk about Tharja's characteristics without mentioning her famous backside. Tharja's ass has generated a lot of attention in the Fire Emblem community, as it was apparently deemed too sexy for Western eyes. Localization team strikes again. In the Summer Scramble DLC, we get treated to a very suggestive picture of Tharja posing in a very tight, small red bikini, though in the Western release, her butt is covered up by a curtain. Ironically, this made the community even more obsessed with her ass, and several butt-related memes and jokes started to circulate around the community, including the viral video, "Together We Ride That Booty," which blew up on YouTube. If the localization team's goal was to divert our attention away from Tharja's ass, they sure failed miserably. Tharja has a cold, distant personality, though she is quick to annoy or even anger, and can easily flare up if offended, though for the most part, she just wants to be left alone. She is extremely arrogant and believes everyone around her to be stupid and incompetent. This all changes in regards to Robin, whom she is absolutely obsessed with, regardless of gender. This might mean that Tharja is bisexual, but since she doesn't display any affection for any other females in Chrom's army, not to mention that she is unable to obtain an actual S-rank support with female Robin, it might just mean that her attraction to Robin is not physical in nature. In fact, in a support with Vake, Tharja mentions that her attraction to Robin transcends the physical plane, whatever that means, and that it is a meeting of the minds. This might imply that what Tharja finds so attractive about Robin is not the physical appearance, but the intelligence. Maybe she considers Robin the only person in Chrome's army to match her wits? Regardless of what the attraction stems from, it is so intense that Tharja resorts to stalking Robin around Chrome's camp. But that's okay, because if there's one thing Awakening taught us, it's that stalking is kinda hot when it's an attractive girl doing it. Tharja is shown to have a very complicated relationship with her daughter Noir? Man, difficult to pronounce names apparently runs in the family. Anyway, she openly neglects her kid and even uses her as a test subject for her curses and hexes. She literally does not seem to care about her flesh and blood at all, which really shows how distant she can be, and this has caused her daughter a lot of emotional trauma. For all her emotional shortcomings, Tharja does have the ability to show affection, though in very limited quantities. In her support conversation with Kellum, she is seen trying to post a letter to her family in Plagia, and expresses worry over them due to the war there, stating that normally they would be fine, but in these times she is not so sure. This shows that Tharja does have the ability to care about her family, if only a little. In the A support with her daughter, Tharja actually reveals to her that the reason she doesn't want to teach her hexes is because they can be dangerous, and this explains why her daughter starts out as an archer. In hindsight, this conversation doesn't make a bit of sense to me. She doesn't want to teach her own daughter to learn curses and hexes because they can be dangerous, yet she has no issues using her own daughter as a test subject for her own curses? Sounds like Tharja doesn't want to teach them for her own sake. Maybe fear of retaliation? Maybe that's what she meant by them being dangerous? Dangerous for her? Man, if that's the case, Tharja truly is the worst mother of all time. Besides, it's not like her daughter can't just grab a second seal. She has the class available to her. Oh well, I guess class changing is just meta. Overall, Tharja has very few redeeming character traits, and really her awful behavior is only excused because of her level of physical attractiveness. She is a psychotic, arrogant, narcissistic stalker who treats people around her like shit. But hey, she's got a nice ass, so I was going to make a point here, but yeah, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. I think I was going somewhere with this.
Had enough?
Tharja first shows up in Chapter 9 as an enemy unit, and must be recruited by having Chrom talk to her. Beware though, until she is recruited she will move in to attack you, and might get herself killed if she goes up against a strong ranged attacker like your avatar. You should also take care to recruit Libra, who appears in the same chapter, but shows up as a green unit pretty close to her position, as he has a pretty reasonable chance of dropping her with his killer axe if the two of them square off. As a unit, Tharja is the first of the two dark mages you get in the game, the other one being Henry, so naturally a lot of people draw comparisons between the two. Compared to Henry, Tharja has more magic and speed, but less hit point, skill and defense, though she does have the advantage of joining 4 chapters earlier. Despite Henry being the more tanky dark mage though, Tharja is by no means squishy. With a 90% hit points and 45% defense growths, she is extremely durable, even by Awakening standards, not to mention the Nosferatu tome, which is on absolute steroids in this game. Not only does it not impede any restrictions on our ability to double attack or proc skills like in Fates, but it is sold from the Overland map after chapter 13. The ability to wield the Nosferatu tome makes almost any character in Awakening viable, as they can literally take on seemingly endless waves of enemies as long as they don't meet someone capable of killing them in a single turn of combat. In fact, the Nosferatu tome is so broken that Tharja or Henry can literally solo the game on difficulties up to hard mode. On Lunatic and Lunatic Plus, this starts to become impossible towards the mid to late game, even if they cap all their stats, but you can still fly solo for a pretty long while with nothing but a solid pair up and a lot of Nosferatu books. It's quite hilarious. Tharja does have a glaring weakness, and that's her pitifully low base skill of 5 and her growth of 40%, which is very low by Awakening standards. The Nosferatu tome is fairly inaccurate in this game with its 65% hit, and if there is one thing that can get Tharja killed, it's failing to land a hit and thus not being able to replenish her hit points before the next enemy comes in. This is luckily remedied by her 2 starting skills, Hex and Anathema, both of which reduce the avoidance of nearby enemies, and they stack with each other, meaning that any melee melee attacker going up against Tharja will suffer minus 25 avoid. This will greatly help her land hits despite her shaky skill, and sometimes you might even consider not attacking from 2 range and instead going to close combat, as the 15% extra hits she gains from Hex might be worth risking the retaliation hit. And of course, you should make a habit of always attacking from close range when going up against enemies capable of attacking from both 1 and 2 range, like enemy mages. The skill Vengeance also amplifies this risky Nosferatu playstyle even further, as it activates very frequently at 2 times her skill, and increases damage based on how many hit points Tharja is missing. This skill was made for Nosferatu tanking, and it is an absolute godsend if you have her take on a lot of enemies at once. The lower they bring her, the harder she hits back, and remember, the more damage she deals, the more healing she gets. Tharja can take on many different classes, but honestly, unless it's to pick up some utility skill like Tomebreaker, there is no better choice for her than Sorcerer, as anything else prevents her from using the all-powerful Nosferatu tome. Yes, even Dark Knights who have Dark in their name can't use it, so don't make the same mistake I did in my Awakening Let's Play and think that you can have a mounted Nosferatu user. It ain't gonna happen. You may think that Life Taker is a good skill for Tharja to pick up, but since it only activates on player phase, it is completely redundant, as most of your healing will come from Nosferatu counterattacks. Once Tharja obtains an S-rank support with any male unit, she'll become the mother of the archer... Fuck, I hate this name so much. Traumatized Archer Shit Kid. Anyway, Traumatized Archer Shit Kid, most like the other Awakening children, will become extremely good stat-wise regardless of who her father is. If you want to keep her an archer, however, it is advised you pair her mother up with someone possessing great strength to help her out in that department. Honestly though, many just prefer to reclass her to a Dark Mage to get another Nosferatu wielder, and for this, pairing Tharja up with a magic user such as Rickon will make her kid an absolutely amazing Nosferatu tank, easily surpassing her mother performance-wise, especially if you pass down the Tome Fair skill. Now, I know that I've mentioned Nosferatu like a heap of times in the spotlight, but honestly, if viability is what you're looking for, there really isn't much else to say. Sure, at the end of the day, there's tons of cute things you could do with Tharja as units, but none of them is going to match up to a crazy sorcerer soloing entire armies by herself. You don't even need to take good care of this one, merely place her in the enemy's range and watch the carnage unfold. Thank you for watching this character spotlight. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and a comment, it really helps out the channel a lot. If there is a character you want to see featured in a future spotlight, let me know about it in the comment section below. I want to give a shout out to my designer, Mina Tangerina, for designing the visuals of this spotlight, as well as my 2 script editors, Nasiro and Tsunagi, who helped me with editing the scripts for the spotlights. Until next time, my name is Mengs, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye!